Antarctica isn't just the coldest continent, it's the one hiding the most secrets. Because of its remoteness and forbidding climate, there is still a treasure trove of weird and wonderful oddities beneath the ice and waves just waiting to be discovered. And now, in 2024, scientists hit the jackpot. From secret ecosystems and ancient DNA to logic-defying blooms and creepy fish nests, here are our top Antarctica stories so far. Number 16. Ancient fossils and rainforests. Antarctica was not always situated at the South Pole. Around 200 million years ago, during the Mesozoic era, it was part of the supercontinent Gondwana, which included present-day South America, Africa, India, Australia, and Antarctica itself. As the tectonic plates shifted over millions of years, Gondwana gradually broke apart, and Antarctica drifted southward. This movement significantly altered the continent's climate. During the mid-Cretaceous period, about 100 million years ago, Antarctica was located at more temperate latitudes. This period coincided with a greenhouse climate on Earth, characterized by high levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide and warmer global temperatures. Consequently, Antarctica supported rich ecosystems, including temperate rainforests. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence for a verdant ancient Antarctica comes from the discovery of dinosaur fossils. In 1986, a team of geologists uncovered the remains of Cryolophosaurus, a large theropod dinosaur, on Mount Kirkpatrick in the Transantarctic Mountains. This discovery was groundbreaking, as it demonstrated that dinosaurs inhabited Antarctica during the Jurassic period about 190 million years ago. Further excavations revealed fossils of other dinosaurs, including sauropods and ornithopods, suggesting a diverse range of species once roamed the continent. In addition to dinosaur fossils, paleobotanists have unearthed an array of plant fossils, providing a window into the ancient vegetation of Antarctica. Fossilized leaves, wood, and pollen indicate that the continent was once covered by dense forests. During the Cretaceous period, these forests were dominated by conifers, ferns, and other gymnosperms. Fossilized tree trunks, some over a meter in diameter, have been found in various locations, including the Transantarctic Mountains and the Antarctic Peninsula. These discoveries suggest that large, towering trees formed extensive forested areas. One of the most remarkable fossil finds is that of Glossopteris, an extinct genus of seed ferns. Glossopteris fossils have been discovered across all the southern continents that were once part of Gondwana, including Antarctica. These fossils are significant because they provide evidence of the once-connected landmass and its shared flora. The presence of Glossopteris in Antarctica indicates that during the Permian period about 250 million years ago, the continent supported vast temperate forests. Number 15. Underground lakes. It's difficult to imagine anything beneath the thick layers of ice in Antarctica, yet scientists have discovered a number of underground lakes. First uncovered in 1970 with radars, there are estimated to be around 400 lakes sitting under 3 kilometers of ice in the regions that were explored. Scientists believe the lakes were formed after the separation of Antarctica from Gondwanaland, the ancient supercontinent. The lakes don't freeze because of the pressure from the weight of the ice sheet. Lake Vostok, discovered in the 1990s by Russian scientists, is the largest subglacial lake in Antarctica. It's also the third largest lake by volume in the world, lying 3.5 kilometers below the ice. Scientists have since drilled deep holes into the ice to extract a sample of the lake water, and one sample showed the water to be around 30 C, despite being covered by ice over 20 million years ago. In 2014, scientists had a major breakthrough at Lake Whillans, discovering a diverse and active ecosystem of microorganisms in the lake, nearly a kilometer under the ice sheet. These incredible species haven't seen fresh air or sunlight for millions of years, yet they flourish using methane and ammonium as energy to grow. More recently, some remarkable clues dug from Lake Mercer suggest some answers of how and why Antarctica's hidden lakes form, or how long they'll last. This subglacial lake sits roughly 300 kilometers south of the Camb Ice Cavern. Lake Mercer is a bit odd, at least in comparison to surface lakes. It sits on the side of a hill. Only the pressure of the vast ice atop it holds its water in place. But this lake won't always be there. By comparing sediment pulled up from the lake's floor to satellite data of the glacier atop the lake, scientists now believe that the layers in Lake Mercer's floor mark a series of floods. Each deluge started somewhere upstream. After spurting over the top of a hill, this water gushed into and filled up Lake Mercer. But this fast-moving floodwater came to a standstill in the lake. There, it dropped chunky sediments it had been carrying. This is how each of the chunky layers formed. During the years between floods, water flowed into the lake more slowly. Slow water could only carry tiny particles of sediment. It left these tiny grains on the lake floor, creating the fine layers. Those layers suggest the story of the lake's birth, says Venturelli. Mercer likely formed when the glacier above it started to slow and thicken. This increased the pressure at the glacier's base, which sped up the melting of ice on its underside. That meltwater accumulated to form the lake on the downstream side of the hill. But calculations by Siegfried and Venturelli suggest this lake is not permanent. The crushing weight of the overlying ice will kill it, and maybe soon. In a few decades, the glacier above Lake Mercer will become thick enough that it will squish the lake out of existence. Its pooled water will then flow to a new location, perhaps forming a new lake. This subglacial world is shaped by different forces than the surface world. Down here, changes occur quickly as glaciers speed or slow, causing their ice to thin or thicken. Satellites show that the ice sheets throb up and down as floodwaters beneath them pulse through. As water pools and bursts free, lakes form and then disappear. Rivers change course. This all happens out of sight. But now, thanks to scientists' persistent efforts, these processes are now less of a mystery. Number 14. Deep Lake. Deep Lake is an inland lake in East Antarctica that has fascinated scientists for years. The lake sits 55 meters below sea level, with water salinity increasing as it gets deeper. Its salty waters are comparable to the Dead Sea and are 10 times saltier than the ocean. This means the water does not freeze, despite temperatures reaching -20°C at its deepest point. The extreme conditions of Deep Lake create a challenging environment for life, but it is home to a diverse and resilient microbial community. The organisms that inhabit Deep Lake have adapted to survive in high salinity, low temperatures, and limited nutrient availability. These extremophiles are of great interest to microbiologists and astrobiologists, as they provide insights into the mechanisms of survival in harsh environments. Among the dominant microorganisms in Deep Lake are Haloarchaea, a group of archaea that thrive in high salt environments. These microbes have evolved unique biochemical pathways and structural adaptations to cope with the osmotic stress caused by hypersalinity. For instance, they produce compatible solutes, like glycerol, and specialized proteins to stabilize their cellular machinery. The study of Deep Lake's microbial life not only enhances our understanding of extremophiles on Earth, but also has implications for the search for life beyond our planet. Similar hypersaline environments may exist on icy moons such as Europa and Enceladus, where subsurface oceans are thought to be present beneath thick ice crusts. Number 13. Blood Falls. In the McMurdo Dry Valley, a bright crimson 5-story waterfall pours out of Taylor Glacier into Lake Bonny. It looks like a gush of blood from a wound in the ice, but scientists have recently discovered the cause behind this mysterious phenomenon. The water that feeds Blood Falls was once a salty lake that is now cut off from the atmosphere due to the formation of glaciers on top of the lake. The water is preserved 400 meters underground and has become even saltier over time. It's now 3 times saltier than seawater and cannot freeze. The salt water is also extremely rich in iron and completely devoid of oxygen and sunlight. As the iron-rich water seeps through a fissure in the glacier and comes into contact with the air, the iron oxidizes and rusts, staining the water a dark red color. Number 12. Unusual creatures. Antarctica is a barren, icy desert with very little rain, fierce winds, and the coldest temperatures on Earth. The coldest recorded temperature was -89.4 degrees. But it's also home to a myriad of unique wildlife. It was previously thought that nothing could survive beneath the massive ice sheets. However, scientists have discovered a number of unusual species that have adapted to the harsh environment. First up, the Hoff crab, a yet-to-be-named species whose nickname honors Baywatch actor David Hasselhoff. Discovered on a hydrothermal vent system in Antarctica, the Hoff crab, a type of Yeti crab, farms bacteria on its furry chest as its main source of food. The creature also lives in a very hot place in what's a normally cold environment. Swarming around steamy vents 2.5 kilometers deep, the crabs could represent the densest population of animals ever found. Besides, Antarctica is also home to icefish, a type of see-through fish with glycoproteins instead of red blood cells. These proteins attach to small ice crystals in the fish's body and work as an antifreeze, enabling it to live in freezing water. Another Antarctic critter blessed with antifreeze is the Antarctic springtail. Though only 1 to 2 millimeters long, the springtail is the continent's biggest land animal. What's more, these tiny animals can survive being frozen solid and defrosted on a regular basis. Put them in a freezer, and they'll happily walk around again. While Antarctica's land animals may be teensy, their sea creatures can get huge thanks to the high amounts of oxygen in the water. Gillis creatures such as sea spiders breathe through holes in their bodies, which allows more oxygen to be absorbed into their bodies, thus allowing them to grow bigger over time. For instance, in Europe, a sea spider is the size of your little fingernail, and then you go to Antarctica and it's the size of your dinner plate. Last but not least on the list of the 5 weirdest Antarctic species are glass sponges, which get their name because their skeletons are made out of silica and come in a range of unusual shapes. Though relatively uncommon in most of the world, they're abundant in Antarctica, where they dominate the seafloor and provide habitat for hundreds of other species. A glass sponge is kind of a living skyscraper for everything to grow on. Number 11. Gamburtsev Mountain Range. Antarctica holds many secrets beneath its vast ice sheets, even a massive mountain range. Hidden below a 2,000 to 4,000 kilometer thick sheet of ice are the Gamburtsev Mountains. They stretch for 1,200 kilometers and rise to 3,000 meters, a third of the height of Mount Everest. The mountains were named after Soviet geophysicist Grigory A. Gamburtsev, after they were discovered in 1958 by Russian scientists. The scientists were traveling across Antarctica when they encountered a thin spread of ice and recorded abnormal gravity fluctuations, revealing the incredible wonder below. Although we've never seen the mountains, scientists use radars to see the physical features of the mountains, while gravitational and magnetic readings allow them to study the mountains all the way to their base. The Gamburtsevs have long baffled scientists as to how they were formed and why they still exist. As the mountains are around 1 billion years old, they should have eroded away with the geological passing of time. There are many theories about how they are still standing, predominantly that there may be a frozen mantle protecting the mountains from erosion. Number 10. Singing ice. A Texas-sized ice shelf in Antarctica seems to be dabbling in the art of music. The Ross Ice Shelf is the largest ice shelf in Antarctica. It's several hundred meters thick and covers an area over 500,000 square kilometers, around the size of France. Scientists have recently discovered that the Ross Ice Shelf sings an eerie melody reminiscent of a didgeridoo, or the drone of a horror film soundtrack. The sounds are created when wind whips across the snow dunes, causing the ice to vibrations and almost non-stop seismic tones. The vibrations aren't audible to human ears, and scientists use seismic sensors to listen to the mournful tune. The song was discovered by accident, after seismic sensors were installed on the ice shelf to observe other behaviors. Scientists have since discovered that the song changes in response to the environment, such as melting or storms shifting the snow. They're now using the song as a tool to monitor the ice shelf in real time, tracking its stability and vulnerability for collapse through the seismic humming. Number 9. The Giant Hole. A hole the size of Ireland opened in Antarctica in 2017. Known as a polynya, the hole is nothing new. Except with a span of 78,000 square kilometers, it's the largest hole to be observed since the 1970s, and the first one to open in 40 years. Found in the Weddell Sea of the Southern Ocean, the polynya was formed due to the warmer, saltier water found in the deeper parts of the sea. The warm water is pushed up by ocean currents, melting the ice on the surface. As the water comes in contact with the cooler surface water, it sinks again, only to be reheated and pushed back to the surface. Scientists aren't completely sure why the polynyas are created, but believe it may be marine mammals using the openings to breathe. They're still working to understand the impacts of these strange, giant holes. Number 8. Mount Erebus. Despite the freezing conditions, Antarctica is home to a number of volcanoes. There are 4 volcanoes on Ross Island, although all are inactive except Mount Erebus, which has actually increased in volcanic activity in the last 30 years. Mount Erebus is an extreme natural wonder, with liquid magma and ancient lava lakes that have been boiling for around 1.3 million years. It's the world's southernmost active volcano and Antarctica's second highest volcano, towering to 3,800 meters high. Scientists cannot often visit Mount Erebus due to the remote location and dangerous weather conditions, although a team of scientists managed to climb the volcano in 2013. They hiked through snow, rocks, and glaciers to the peak, where they found organisms living in the heat of the volcano. They also discovered a number of ice caves with thriving microorganisms in the soil, and it is believed that these extreme creatures are some of the most unique in the world. Number 7. Southern Ocean. The Southern Ocean was named the world's 5th ocean in 2000. It's the 4th largest ocean in the world, surrounding the entire continent of Antarctica. It plays a major role in driving global ocean circulation and also consists of the southern parts of the Pacific, Indian, and Atlantic Oceans. With a maximum depth of about 7,300 meters, it's nearly twice the size of the United States. This mysterious ocean may hold the secret to carbon emission absorption. Scientists have found that the Southern Ocean has absorbed 15% of carbon emissions created by humans. That's an incredible amount, although it won't last forever, and scientists are working quickly to uncover how this process works. Those who venture by ship to Antarctica will cruise through the Southern Ocean, witnessing the sheer power of the sea as you look out from the observation decks to catch your first glimpse of the Antarctic Peninsula. Number 6. McMurdo. Dry valleys. The thought of a desert usually conjures up images of hot, sandy plains, yet Antarctica is the largest desert in the world. It's incredibly dry and windy, with as little as 50 millimeters of rain annually, while 99% of the continent is covered in ice. In the remaining 1%, you'll find the McMurdo Dry Valleys, where massive sand dunes reach up to 70 meters high and 200 meters wide. Although you can't go sandboarding down these dunes, they are an incredibly important site for researchers. The absence of ice in the McMurdo dry valleys is due to katabatic winds, which can reach speeds of up to 200 kilometers per hour. These winds descend from the high polar plateau, evaporating moisture and inhibiting the formation of snow and ice. The region's annual precipitation is less than 100 millimeters, with temperatures averaging -20 degrees in the winter and rarely exceeding 0 degrees in the summer. The dry valleys are divided into several distinct valleys, including Taylor Valley, Wright Valley, and Victoria Valley, each with unique geological and hydrological features. Taylor Valley is notable for Lake Bonny, Lake Frixell, and Lake Hoare, which are perennially ice-covered. These lakes are hypersaline, with salinity levels higher than the ocean, and are fed by glacial meltwater during the brief Antarctic summer. The valley also features the Blood Falls, where iron-rich hypersaline water emerges from the Taylor Glacier, staining the ice with a striking red hue. Despite the extreme conditions, the McMurdo dry valleys host a surprising array of life. Microbial communities thrive in the soil, rocks, and lakes, adapting to the harsh environment through various survival strategies. The discovery of these microorganisms has profound implications for the search for life on other planets, particularly Mars, where similar conditions may exist. The valley's ecosystems are primarily driven by microbial life, with cyanobacteria and other extremophiles playing a crucial role in nutrient cycling. More interestingly, the dry valleys have a similar climate to Mars, and scientists believe the region could hold the secrets to life on other planets. However, the dunes are moving at an alarming rate, migrating at an average of 1.5 meters per year. Scientists believe this is caused by climate change. As the atmosphere heats up, the ice melts and the dunes slip away. They are currently working quickly to unlock the mysteries of the dunes before they are gone forever. Number 5. Ancient meteorites. Antarctica is a gold field for meteorites. Although meteorites can fall all over the Earth, they are easier to find in Antarctica as the cold, dry conditions preserve the rocky fragments. The dark meteorites are also easier to spot on the stark white surface of the ice, and they are almost always extraterrestrial rocks, as few rocks form naturally on the ice sheets of Antarctica. The East Antarctic is particularly ripe for meteorite findings, as the massive ice sheet has stayed still long enough to have its top layers evaporated by sunlight and strong winds. This reveals the older ice and huge concentrations of meteorites. There have been more than 20,000 extraterrestrial meteorite samples collected since 1976. In 2013, a team of Japanese and Belgian scientists discovered the largest meteorite found in East Antarctica in 25 years. The extraterrestrial rock weighed an incredible 18 kilograms. The team searched for meteorites for 40 days, finding 425 meteorites with a collective weight of 75 kilograms. The discoveries included a piece of the asteroid Vesta and a meteorite from Mars. Number 4. Aliens, Nazis, and the Lost City. Antarctica is a breeding ground for mystery, and it's had its fair share of conspiracy theories over the years. From elongated skulls and strange pyramids to alien spaceships, bizarre structures, and a giant staircase, many people believe that Antarctica once housed extraterrestrial life, or still does. Every year there are dozens of reported UFO sightings, while Google Earth has captured some unusual activity, said to be the work of aliens. It's a hotspot for alien hunters, so keep your eyes peeled for any bizarre green lights in the sky. The mystery of Antarctica continues deep below its surface, where no one has gone before. It is said that the lost city of Atlantis is hidden beneath the kilometers of ice. The city would have thrived when Antarctica was a warm, tropical region and would have been buried after the Ice Age froze the continent. It's highly possible that a civilization existed in Antarctica, but it's yet to be proven that the continent is the site of the fabled lost city. It's also theorized that the Nazis used underground Antarctica as a secret hideaway, and some people believe that Hitler fled there after the war. Hitler did have a passion for the occult, and he was searching for something in Antarctica. The Nazi Germans built a station in Antarctica. However, it was abandoned 70 years ago after the crew were poisoned by polar bear meat. Although the theory has been disproven, it doesn't stop the speculation on what lies beneath Antarctica's mysterious surface. The Great White Continent is the most baffling and unexplained corner on Earth, and despite the dedicated efforts of scientists around the world, we may never know all of its secrets. Number 3. The shipwreck of Shackleton's Endurance was uncovered. There are so many unique facts about Antarctica and the continent's history, from its flora and fauna to the midnight sun. One interesting part of Antarctica's history is the sinking of the steam yacht Endurance in 1915. The Endurance was part of the Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition, led by the renowned polar explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton. The goal of the expedition, which set sail in 1914, was to make the first land crossing of the Antarctic continent from the Weddell Sea to the Ross Sea via the South Pole. However, the mission faced insurmountable challenges when the Endurance became trapped in the dense pack ice of the Weddell Sea. After months of being stuck, the relentless pressure of the ice ultimately crushed the ship, causing it to sink on November 21, 1915. Remarkably, Shackleton and his 27 crew members survived and embarked on a harrowing journey to safety, which involved crossing treacherous ice, open seas, and inhospitable land. For over a century, the wreck of the Endurance lay undiscovered beneath the ice-covered waters. Numerous attempts were made to locate it, but the harsh and unpredictable conditions of the Weddell Sea made the search extremely challenging. The breakthrough came in early 2022 when an expedition, known as Endurance 22, successfully located the wreck. Using state-of-the-art underwater drones and sonar technology, the team was able to scan the seabed and identify the ship's remains at a depth of nearly 3,000 meters. The successful location and identification of the Endurance were made possible by significant advances in underwater exploration technology. Autonomous underwater vehicles equipped with high-resolution sonar and cameras played a crucial role. These autonomous underwater vehicles were capable of operating in extreme conditions, navigating through the treacherous waters and capturing detailed images of the seabed. The expedition also utilized remote-operated vehicles to get close-up footage and gather more information about the state of the wreck. Remarkably, the Endurance was found in a state of preservation that stunned the expedition team and maritime historians. The cold temperatures, low oxygen levels, and lack of wood-eating organisms in the depths of the Weddell Sea contributed to the ship's remarkable condition. The name Endurance could still be seen emblazoned across the stern, and much of the ship's structure, including the wheel and the decking, appeared to be intact. This exceptional preservation offers a unique glimpse into the past and provides a tangible connection to the heroic saga of Shackleton and his crew. Number 2. Antarctica's Doomsday Glacier melting and doomsday scenario in 2050. Antarctica's Thwaites Glacier, often referred to as the Doomsday Glacier, has emerged as one of the most critical points of concern in the study of climate change and its impacts. The glacier, situated in West Antarctica, plays a pivotal role in global sea level dynamics. Recent studies and observations indicate that Thwaites Glacier is melting at an unprecedented rate, raising significant concerns about future sea level rise and the broader implications for the planet. The direct consequence of Thwaites Glacier's significant melting would be a rise in global sea levels. Even a partial collapse could lead to several feet of sea level rise. Coastal cities and low-lying areas around the world would face severe flooding. Major metropolitan areas such as New York, Miami, and Shanghai could experience unprecedented levels of inundation, displacing millions of people and causing extensive damage to infrastructure. Besides, note that the Thwaites Glacier plays a crucial role in stabilizing the West Antarctic ice sheet. So as it melts, it could destabilize other neighboring glaciers, such as Pine Island Glacier, which are also vulnerable. This destabilization could lead to a chain reaction, with other ice masses contributing to even higher sea level rises. The potential loss of the entire West Antarctic ice sheet could add approximately 3 to 5 meters to sea levels over time. In addition, the influx of fresh water from Thwaites Glacier into the ocean would disrupt ocean currents and potentially alter global climate patterns. The Antarctic region plays a significant role in regulating global climate through its influence on ocean circulation. Disruptions could affect weather patterns, increase the frequency of extreme weather events, and alter temperature distributions across the globe. Moreover, the melting of Thwaites Glacier would also have profound effects on marine ecosystems. The glacier's meltwater could alter the salinity and temperature of the surrounding ocean, impacting marine life. Species that rely on stable conditions, such as certain types of krill and fish, could face habitat loss or changes in their food supply, leading to shifts in the marine food chain. The economic impacts of such a scenario would be immense. The cost of mitigating and adapting to rising sea levels, relocating affected communities, and repairing infrastructure would be staggering. Additionally, the social implications, including the displacement of populations and potential conflicts over resources, could exacerbate global inequalities and stress political systems. To mitigate these risks, urgent global efforts are needed to address climate change and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Researchers are also working on methods to slow the melting of glaciers through advanced monitoring and modeling techniques. International cooperation and policy initiatives will be crucial in managing the impacts and planning for future scenarios. In summary, the potential melting of Antarctica's Thwaites Glacier represents a profound doomsday scenario with far-reaching consequences. Its impact on sea levels, global climate, ecosystems, and human societies highlights the critical need for continued research and proactive measures to address the challenges posed by climate change. Number 1. The ozone hole above Antarctica is growing larger. Just as the sea ice around Antarctica grows and retreats each year, so does the ozone hole above the continent. And this year, that hole has grown a lot. Observations from the European Space Agency's Copernicus Sentinel-5P satellite indicate the ozone hole reached approximately 26 million square kilometers in area on September 2023, making it one of the largest seasonal holes ever observed. With global warming and a depleting ozone layer, many people worry about Antarctica's future. It makes you wonder what Antarctica would look like if all the ice melted. While scientists are worried about climate change in general, this hole in the ozone should hopefully grow smaller over time. That's all the information that we have for you today. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's episode. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you never miss out on future episodes. And be sure to also tell us what you think about today's content. Everyone's support motivates us to continue delivering quality content and to always improve. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.